Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a really pressing representation sent to the Directorate of Education in Goa. We're looking at this massive gap between the statutory rights of government employees with disabilities and the actual reality they are facing on the ground. It's a fascinating but frankly concerning look at how policy on paper completely fails to translate into practice. Imagine this for a second. Imagine navigating a workplace that was originally built for someone else, only to find the very laws meant to protect you and level the playing field are being misapplied or in some cases just totally ignored. That is exactly the situation outlined in our source material today, where systemic misunderstandings are actively hurting the exact employees the laws are supposed to protect. So here's our agenda for today. First, the law versus reality. Second, the 12-day leave entitlement. Third, fair postings and transfers. Fourth, accessibility and accommodations. And finally, number 5, the path to compliance. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, the law versus reality. The source document here doesn't pull any punches. It opens by pointing out a massive systemic problem: noncompliance of statutory guidelines and denial of lawful entitlements. So despite having the clear legal framework of the RPWD Act of 2016 firmly in place, government employees with disabilities are basically fighting constant uphill bureaucratic battles just to get what's legally theirs. Moving on to Section 2, the 12-day leave entitlement. Now, this number is absolutely crucial: 12. Under the law, government employees with disabilities are entitled to exactly 12 days of casual leave. Now, somehow, there's been a lot of confusion and it mistakenly gets recorded or assumed to be 15 days, but the representation is super clear on this. It is strictly 12 days. Getting this specific number right is the literal foundation of their demands. And here is where the bureaucratic tangle really happens. You've got regular casual leave, those 12 days we just talked about, and then you have special casual leave. These are completely 100% distinct categories. The document stresses that you cannot merge them. You can't adjust one against the other. They serve totally different statutory purposes. Because of all this mix-up, the demand here is pretty straightforward. The government needs to grant these 12 days automatically, right now. I mean, think about it. Employees shouldn't have to jump through hoops, write out individual applications, and basically fight with their departments for a basic entitlement that the RPWD Act already guarantees them. It should just happen. Okay, let's look at Section 3, fair postings and transfers. We're seeing some really concerning, frankly, discriminatory practices happening right from the get-go. Candidates are being forced to sign these mandatory undertakings that effectively corner them into taking postings in highly inaccessible rural areas. It's like the guidelines specifically designed to protect them, like Point V of the posting guidelines, are just being completely tossed out the window. The representation pushes back hard on this. It explicitly states that these undertakings, specifically the ones they call Annex 2, cannot be forced on persons with disabilities. Applying mandatory rural posting rules to these employees is arbitrary. It's illogical. You're essentially setting them up to fail by dropping them into environments that physically cannot support their needs. Which brings us right to Section 4, accessibility and accommodations. So under the RPWD Act of 2016, reasonable accommodation is definitely not just some HR buzzword. It is a strict statutory obligation. It literally means the government has to make necessary and appropriate modifications to the workplace. The whole idea here is that the physical workplace must adapt to the employee, not the other way around. That is how you actually ensure equal rights. But the reality? The source document outlines a near total failure on this front. We're talking about basic accessibility standards being completely ignored. Places of posting are flat out inaccessible. And those essential assistive devices that employees actually need to effectively do their jobs, they're just not being provided by the departments at all. So how do we fix this? Section 5, the path to compliance. The representation lays out a very clear, actionable roadmap for the government to fix this right now. Number 1, correctly grant the exact 12 days of casual leave. No more confusion there. 2, make sure all postings are actually accessible. 3, step up and proactively provide the necessary assistive devices. And 4, put an immediate stop to forcing employees into signing undertakings for inaccessible rural postings. But, putting out the immediate fires isn't going to be enough. To make sure these aren't just empty promises that get forgotten by next year, the document demands a real, robust compliance and monitoring mechanism. Someone actually has to hold these departments accountable for implementing these statutory guidelines day in and day out. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. Does true justice for government employees with disabilities mean just having the RPWD Act successfully written down on paper? Or is it found in the everyday, unprompted, and faithful enforcement of those rights? Because at the end of the day, a law is really only as strong as its implementation. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive, and keep asking the important questions.